Today, we're reminded of a pain.
It's been 1 year since the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history.
She's screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, come get us."
A shooting that took 58 innocent lives on the Las Vegas Strip.
Somebody's shooting at us.
But over the past 365 days, Las Vegas has become more unified than ever.
The strength of knowing that you're a survivor, that you're a fighter, that you were blessed.
With a formal memorial going up in the weeks after the shooting.
There's a huge presence here. It's letting us know that they're with us and we're with them every day.
And some of our city's most famous names putting on a benefit concert.
It's a night for Vegas to come together and to put our arms around each other.
Southern Nevada also rallied around the Golden Knights, who played their first game just days after the shooting.
We are Vegas strong.
Proving that our community is truly Vegas stronger.
And thank you for joining us for this special edition of 8 News Now at 6, Hope and Healing Vegas Stronger. I'm Christiane Klein. Over the next hour, we'll take you live to ceremonies marking 1 year since the deadly concert shooting on the Las Vegas Strip. We'll also hear from survivors about how their lives were changed forever that night. We have live team coverage tonight from across the valley. But first, let's send it out to the Healing Garden, where Denise Valdez and Brian Loftus have been talking with survivors and family members of victims this evening.
Good evening, Christiane. Brian and I have been out here since 5 o'clock this evening, and I can tell you in just the last maybe 30 minutes, they've closed the street behind us because directly behind us is the Healing Garden, and we're just seeing literally hundreds of people filing in, many of them with American flags, some of them holding flowers, getting ready for the rededication of the Healing Garden, which is going to happen here tonight at 6:30.
Yeah, cars and trucks just pulling in for that rededication ceremony, and we'll be hearing from Mayor Goodman as well as other speakers at 6:30. And when we look back to 1 year ago, to 1 October, every stranger in that crowd embraced each other as family and friends gathered to remember the loved ones that were killed in the shooting. Jill Carlson was there in honor of her brother-in-law, Kurt Von Tillo, who was one of the 58 people killed in the shooting.
Loved his country, loved his family, loved country music. It's been amazing to watch, and the strength of everybody what everybody's been through, and the strength that has brought everybody together and will continue in the years to come.
Thank you, everyone, for coming together.
And at that ceremony this morning, Governor Brian Sandoval and Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo, just two of the speakers to honor those lives lost.
You're looking at some of the video of the sunrise service that happened today at the Clark County Government Center. This morning's ceremony ended with a beautiful display. This is at 58 doves being released, each representing one of the lives, of course, taken tragically on the night of 1 October. The crowds really comforting each other as those white doves spread their wings across the sky.
And we are talking about now right after the attack. And the fact is, everybody woke up the next morning saying, how can I help? It was incredible, the response that you, the Las Vegas community, showed up in numbers, in droves, hour-long lines at blood banks, people waiting patiently going, this is one small way that I can help. And thousands of you waited in those lines, helped to restock the blood banks that were depleted after the Las Vegas shooting.
So, as very fitting, another blood drive was held today at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and that's where 8 News Now reporter Karen Castro is tonight, where that blood drive started as early as 7 o'clock this morning. Karen?
Yeah, that's right, Denise and Brian. And once again, this community is showing their willingness to help. There's about less than an hour left in the blood drive, and people continue showing up. I want to show you each person sitting on those chairs donating blood. They're donating a pint of blood, and that pint is going to help save up to 3 lives. And so far, we're told 600 people have provided a life-saving gift. And among those who donated blood today were Vegas Golden Knights players. Many of them also showed up to provide moral support, and Governor Brian Sandoval decided to swing by even though he wasn't allowed to donate because of a recent trip to Ghana. His wife, though, and First Lady donated on their behalf. And we asked the governor and some players about meeting with community members a year after the 1 October tragedy.
Yeah, it's still sad. It obviously conjured up a lot of memories and a lot of images, but it also it makes me proud how people have come together, and as I said, the Vegas Stronger, that really again speaks to this community and what we've done and how we've come together as a state, as a community.
It's special for us. I think it's a good day to come out and show our support for the people that have been affected, are giving blood and giving lots of time and effort back to the community.
And if you would like to donate, we want to remind you there is still time. This blood drive is going to be wrapping up at 7 o'clock tonight. Again, we are inside the Las Vegas Convention Center in the North Hall. Reporting live, Karen Castro, 8 News Now.
Karen, thank you. And as a reminder, again, we'll be staying out here for the full 6 o'clock hour for that special rededication of the Healing Garden, which will be happening right behind us at 6:30.
We're going to now check back in the studio with Christiane Klein. Christiane, for the better part of the past year, has been following the story of the Baca twins who survived the shooting, and she joins us now with an update on their story. Christiane.
Thank you, Denise and Brian. Well, two of the most famous survivors of 1 October have shared their journey exclusively with 8 News Now. We've been with Gianna and Natalia Baca, known to the world as the Baca twins, since the beginning. But they aren't the only ones in their family dealing with the aftermath of the country's deadliest mass shooting. This is their story of grief and healing.
Be advised, we're getting multiple calls of active shooters at multiple locations.
It's been 1 year since 1 October. Since Gianna and Natalia Baca were shot at the Route 91 Harvest Festival. A year since their entire world changed.
It's been hard.
For the Baca family, every single day is a roller coaster ride of emotions.
There's like a new normal in our house where you just never know how they're going to wake up.
Are they having nightmares?
Yes, sometimes they do.
What wakes you up?
I feel like it's just like the memory, like that night, just going through it again. Yeah, just the memories replaying.
I don't know if we can fit another one in there. I'm at the UMC with a female with a gunshot wound to the head. Keep her neck stable.
This is the reality of life a year after 1 October. A family struggling to deal with the emotional wounds of victim and caretaker. The twins still deal with the physical trauma of being shot, the bullet fragments permanently lodged in their bodies that cause Gianna daily pain, and that Natalia memorialized with her framed chest x-ray in her bedroom. For Cindy Baca, it's the never-ending pain of a mother trying to help her daughters cope.
What's been the hardest part of this last year?
Just watching the girls just kind of struggle and not being able to do anything to fix it.
1 October has left its mark on this family. Good days can turn bad in a heartbeat, and anything can trigger a traumatic memory. When Cindy took the twins to Disney World for a graduation trip, the normal Disney crowds were viewed as a potential threat. Their fun trip could bring on anxiety in a second.
One day we were in one of the parks and they had a daytime show and they shot some fireworks off, and it set one of the girls off really bad, and I didn't know what it was because we lost her. And then my friend noticed, she found her like in the corner crying, and I thought it was like teenage girl stuff. She was scared she thought it was like gunshots, and then I felt horrible.
I feel like I'm always like scanning and like looking out like windows and like just making sure that everything around me is safe.
Do you think this is going to be how you live the rest of your life and how they live the rest of their life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's not a movie that I go to that I don't think about how could I get out. There's not a time that they walk out the door that I don't wonder when they don't call on check-in on time.
Like so many other survivors and their families, it's the emotional trauma, the new and permanent life changes that haunt them.
Are you guys surprised that you're still on this roller coaster, emotional roller coaster, a year later?
Yeah. It's scary to like think about in the past of what emotions I felt and why I was feeling that way, and now it's like they're coming back and I like understand why it's happening.
Like what?
I feel like every day I'm like literally walking on eggshells. Like it's scary, but I'm so used to it now that I feel like it's like my life and I just have to keep walking.
Well, the Baca family says the outpouring of support from our community has helped them with the daily challenges of life after a mass shooting. Both Gianna and Natalia are now enrolled in beauty school. They're set to graduate soon. But they acknowledge that 1 October is now part of their history and their life story. And again, this is just one family story. There were 22,000 people there that night. Brian and Denise.
Thank you, Christiane, for an update on those two very brave twin sisters back here at the Healing Garden, where, the Healing Garden went up in 3 days, and it was all within that first week after the shooting 1 year ago. And tonight is a very special night.
There will be having a rededication starting here at 6:30. Sasha Loft is just across the way behind us inside the Healing Garden tonight. Sasha?
Denise, really a sound of sorrow and reflection as everyone gathers here just ahead of this dedication ceremony, as you said, at 6:30 just a few minutes ago. Now, as you also mentioned, the community came together to build this just a couple days after this tragic shooting a year ago tonight, and really everyone is coming back to pay their respects. Now, after they put this all together, the remembrance events today was really the focal point of everything that happened, and this quickly changed from mourning the 58 lives lost to honoring them while moving forward with a message of hope and healing. Now, as we mentioned, that dedication for the new Remembrance Wall will be happening in just a few minutes at 6:30 tonight. We will be here all night for that. And as I said, a lot of people coming together, a lot of hugs, a lot of tears. So stay with 8 News Now here. As I said, we will be covering this at 6:30 tonight here at the Downtown Healing Garden. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Sasha. Looks like it's really going to be a packed service. We're still seeing a lot of people arriving for something that doesn't start for another 20 minutes. A lot of people in cowboy boots, a lot of people in their Vegas Strong t-shirts with their flowers holding each other. I think it's going to be a nice ceremony.
Yeah, there's a real kinship. You see the friends and families gathering again and just streaming by us, some locked in arms, some holding hands, crossing the street to the Healing Garden. We'll continue to cover it on this special edition of 8 News Now. We're back in about 3 minutes. The Valley are finding ways to commemorate the shooting 1 year later. The people over at Basic Academy of International Studies in Henderson sent along these pictures showing the Student Council handing out about 2,500 Vegas Strong bracelets they made for all of the students. The school also has a Gift of Words wall where students can leave positive messages on sticky notes for each other, all in honor of 1 October.
Meantime, back here live at the Healing Garden near downtown Las Vegas, we're waiting for a ceremony to begin, which is about 15 minutes away. And of course, we will bring that to you live when it starts.
There were people of all backgrounds at the concert that night. One Las Vegas man experienced it through at least 3 perspectives: personal, professional, and strategic.
We are talking about former Clark County Sheriff Bill Young. Says he's really been amazed and inspired by how locals have come together after the tragedy, and also how the community has responded really in the last year.
But on that terrible night, he was prepared to take desperate, drastic action, and Sheriff Young spoke with our own 8 News Now I-Team's George Knapp.
She's screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, come get us, somebody's shooting at us. I don't know what's going on." It's just panic beyond terrified voice that she had.
Former Sheriff Bill Young had just pulled into his driveway on the night of October 1st when he received a panicked phone call from his daughter Kara, who was at a music festival with a group of close friends. It took him a minute to make sense of what she was trying to say.
But then I could hear that pop, 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 pop in the back, and I realized within 30 seconds, this was no joke, the tone and pitch of her voice, this was an active shooter situation.
Kara and her friends were hunkered down near the stage, surrounded by others who were already dead or wounded. Young barked at her to grab the hands of her friends and run like hell.
I screamed at her, I said, "You gotta call me as soon as you get to safe. You gotta call my cell phone, Kara, because I'm on my way." And I was. I went in and grabbed a couple guns, my old sheriff's badge, jumped in my Shelby Mustang, which went about 160 miles an hour, and I went 140 on the freeway. I had the highway patrol chasing me. I didn't stop for them. They were a little upset until they realized where I was going.
As he merged onto the I-15 northbound, Young says, from every direction he saw the flashing red lights of first responders, all converging on Mandalay Bay. During his high-speed drive, he had phoned his friend, Sheriff Joe Lombardo. It was the first inkling Lombardo received that something big was unfolding on the Strip. Young was terrified for his daughter, but knew what he wanted to do.
But, I was going to do everything I could to get there and kill the guy, if I could find him.
Instead, Young was trapped for hours in an ocean of blocked traffic. But after 20 excruciating minutes, his daughter called to say their group made it out alive. Though, like so many others, they saw things they will never be able to forget. The emotional damage lingered.
Because she was very withdrawn for months and months and months and months. She wouldn't go to an outside or certainly not to any concert.
Young's perspective on 1 October is multifaceted. He is the parent of someone who was there. He's a security chief for a major resort company, and he served as Clark County Sheriff, elected 1 year after the 9/11 terror attacks. From the start, he used his position to warn that Las Vegas was a tempting target for terrorist violence. And like all sheriffs since, he fought for heightened security measures and federal funds so that Las Vegas could prepare for a day that many said was inevitable.
I've been saying since 9/11, 2001, this is going to be the last time we're going to be facing terrorism in this country, and Las Vegas is a prime target. And I said it to where people got tired of listening to me when I was in law enforcement and Clark County Sheriff. Unfortunately, I was correct.
But the attack wasn't by foreign terrorists, as Young had expected. Instead, it came from a homegrown lone wolf named Stephen Paddock. On the morning after 1 October, Young and other casino security chiefs were called to a meeting with Sheriff Lombardo to start the process of implementing new security measures and long-term strategies. Las Vegas today is a safer place than it was a year ago, but the reality is there are no guarantees when it comes to heavily armed, unhinged lone wolves.
It's the worst mass shooting in the history of the United States. This phenomena of guns, the fetish of guns that some people have that have no business, in my view, of owning. And that's a very controversial statement, I get it. How many dozens have we had in this country and in this world of similar events where people have gotten a firearm and for unknown reasons just decided to go in there and start spraying bullets and killing as many people as they could.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
Former Sheriff Young is not anti-gun. He says he is a lifelong hunter and a gun owner, but at a minimum, thinks there should at least be reasonable background checks before people can buy certain types of weapons.
Christiane Klein standing by in studio. She has a story of love that was all stemming from that one very dark night. Christiane.
Brian and Denise, while many are still grieving and healing, others are creating a new memory of 1 October. And 8 News Now reporter Sally Jaramillo shares a story of a survivor who's returning to Las Vegas to say, I do. Sally?
Christina Williford not only survived the 1 October shooting, but she was also honored by the state of Ohio for helping save lives that day. Today, she left Dayton, Ohio to get married in a city that she will always love. Williford is also a nurse. She says she vividly remembers the Route 91 Harvest Festival as if it was yesterday. She says she came to Las Vegas to visit a friend and attend a concert. When she saw that people were injured, she tried to help them. While Williford says this was a dark night, one thing that came out of it was the best of humanity.
It's hard because you feel like feel guilty because you got to go home. I'm getting to stand here and get married today. 58 people didn't come home. And so to be here, to be in the same walkway that I walked through that night, it's breathtaking.
As married.
Williford says she still has moments where the memories are too much to take, but thanks to her now wife and family, she is learning how to fully heal. Williford and her wife Amy tied the knot at the Signature at MGM Grand this afternoon. They were surrounded by family and friends and us. Christiane?
Thank you, Sally. And after the break, we take you back live to the Healing Garden in downtown Las Vegas as friends and families of victims and survivors gather to lift each other up 1 year later.
Welcome back to our special coverage tonight. There are so many remarkable stories of survival like this one, when a daughter was shot and her mother feared that she was dead.
And a year later, the backbone of the Melanson family continues on her road to recovery.
8 News Now reporter Karen Castro spoke with the mother. She is live at the convention center tonight, where there has been a blood drive throughout the day. Karen?
Well, Denise and Brian, over the last year, Rosemary Melanson has been really beating the odds time and time again. It hasn't been easy, but less than a month ago, she had what her family was hoping would be her last surgery.
Every day is a new challenge.
Rosemary Melanson is surrounded by loved ones, helping her get better one day at a time.
Sometimes there are good days and some days not so good.
Since 1 October, Rosemary has only been home about 5 weeks. She has been in and out of the hospital and has had 12 surgeries. When we spoke with her, the mother of 4 was weeks away from another one. Doctors told her it may be her last.
I'm excited because it's not too far away, and I want it to be fixed for good. But at the same time, there's always that doubt. What if?
8 News Now was there when she was first discharged from the hospital in early February. She had been fighting for her life for 4 months and was the last survivor to go home. But after some complications, she was back days later.
I think my whole outlook is different. You know, you go through so many emotions.
Emotions that she hasn't been able to process. She now suffers from anxiety as she continues to recover physically, but her strength and her will to keep fighting has impressed her close-knit family.
Well, I knew she was strong and stubborn, but I didn't know how strong and stubborn she was.
Paige and her sister Stephanie Melanson were at the concert with their mother. Paige was grazed by a bullet. After seeing Rosemary in the emergency room for the first time, she knew her mother was barely hanging on to life.
Seeing her connected to everything, tubes and breathing machines, like I've never imagined I'd see my mom like that.
Rosemary's husband of 31 years, Steve Melanson, says even the doctors could not explain how she survived after taking a bullet in the shoulder that damaged several of her vital organs.
It's just by the grace of God that, you know, she survived.
He recalls an interesting conversation with his wife after she woke up for the first time following the shooting. Rosemary has forgotten a lot of the details of that night, but she recalls having an out-of-body experience after she was shot.
And then after that, she said she remembers rising above her body, looking down at her body in the grass, hearing the gunshots, hearing the people screaming.
Just like his children, Steve has been by Rosemary's side every step of the way.
I mean, she's my hero. She's my rock. She's... Sorry.
Steve can't imagine life without his soulmate. He thought he had lost her in the shooting after hours of searching several hospitals. Her name was not listed anywhere, so he turned to his daughter.
I told her, I said, I don't think Mom made it, because her name was never on the list.
But Rosemary cheated death and survived catastrophic injuries.
We may be Vegas strong, but as a family, we're Melanson strong. Yeah.
When she's physically able, Rosemary is looking forward to giving back to the community that has given so much to her.
The amount of cards, the amount of gifts, just unbelievable.
And Rosemary is back home after having surgery in early September, but her family tells me that she's still having to deal with medical complications. Still, Rosemary remains optimistic that one day when she's healthier, she'll be able to go on vacation, and she says she just wants to get away. Reporting live, Karen Castro, 8 News Now.
Karen, thank you. It was a beautiful story. She's been following that family for quite some time. We are just a few minutes away from a special dedication that's going to be happening behind us at the Las Vegas Healing Garden. In fact, I can hear Mayor Goodman right now on the podium.
Yeah, she'll be up soon. That family was Melanson strong. This over our shoulders is Vegas strong, Vegas stronger. People here out onto the streets now. It is such a turnout. We'll cover it live right here on 8 News Now. Rejoin us in a few minutes.
While the world forgets, there's 20,000 plus of us that will never forget.
Dear hate, I saw you on the news today.
And
I knew that bullets were hitting people.
So those ordinary people that became heroes that day saved a lot of lives.
Tell the stories, you know, of each individual life, because everybody has a beautiful story.
Thanks for staying with us for the special edition of 8 News Now here at 6:30. We're calling Vegas Stronger, Hope and Healing.
They have just started talking behind us. We'll hear at some point from Mayor Goodman, Councilman Coughlin. There's a Nevada representative here as well. Really an amazing thing. We saw all kinds of people taking photos, looking off in the distance. A gorgeous sunset just over the distance, and many people photographing it as it really is a beautiful setting over this commemorative event.
They've got a series of speakers, of course, as you mentioned. This is the sunset that everybody was talking about. Really almost a little eerie, sort of this break of clear skies among a cloudy evening here, but really very beautiful, very comfortable tonight. As we look back, Congresswoman Dina Titus, along with Governor Sandoval, just some of the many people expected to speak. But it's what's happening beyond them. The hundreds of people that have now lined the street of the Garden, now 2 lanes of traffic coming all the way back to almost where we are, Brian. So many people just want to be a part of this anniversary.
And it's really in the balance of about the past half hour. We just saw so many people arriving, often in groups, clearly close friends or family, coming to be together on what is an emotionally very tough day for all of the community, especially the 22,000 that were there in attendance. People filling onto the street out of the Healing Garden, and the Healing Garden, of course, a place that was built within 3 days in that first week, and the 58 trees there representing the victims lining that paved path just across the street.
And there's a large oak tree right in the center of it that was donated by Siegfried and Roy. That's sort of the centerpiece. And then the beautiful angel wings, which were recently redone. So this is part of the rededication of this memorial. And we have been talking to people throughout the afternoon, people who have come from California and from other parts of the country to be here tonight, just weren't sure where they should be. And this was a place they thought where they could come together with other survivors, talk about the victims, talk about their healing process. It seems like everybody here in Southern Nevada knows at least someone who may have been affected by what happened 1 year ago tonight.
That large oak tree, the tree of life as they call it, the wooden walls where the individuals' names are and mementos and photographs have now been changed to something more permanent. The Healing Garden is essentially open indefinitely, and we're looking at the remembrance wall. That is what is happening right now in terms of that rededication ceremony to honor all 58 of those lives lost, and so many people here with shirts on that say something along the lines of Route 91 survivor, Las Vegas survivor. We will now listen in.
Not give it to us, not sell it to us, just loan it to us. We would like to put together some kind of a memorial immediately. That was 8:30 in the morning on October 2nd. At 10 o'clock, Jay was in our offices, and we found a piece of property within 15 minutes thanks to Tom Perigo and Jorge Cervantes. At 4 o'clock, Jay came back with this. The original version of this was originally almost a cocktail napkin. But it's the design for the garden that we're sitting in tonight. So Jay said, what do we do to get going? And I said this last year, and I'll repeat it, we made the best decision I think we've made in a long time. We decided to do nothing as a city and just let these people go. And they did. On Tuesday morning, all the trees were donated by Boone Valley Nursery, all the shrubs were donated by Star Nursery, and all the labor was volunteer. But there's some remarkable things, and that was what happened behind us in just one. The very first day, Mark Hammelman from here, raise your hand.
It's right here, Brad.
There we go. Mark in the back was out here looking for a place to locate the Tree of Life. So those of you who are familiar with the garden, there are 58 trees and one additional tree called the Tree of Life. And so Mark was looking for the location based on Jay's drawing to locate the Tree of Life, and he was kicking in the dirt. And as he kicked in the dirt, he found a chain. And when he kicked on the chain, this is what was attached to it. If you can see it, it's a medallion. That's the Tree of Life. It was buried right there in that spot for God knows how many years before it was located. The garden began pretty much that afternoon with Daniel Perez picking up trees all by himself and throwing them in holes, with Jay and everybody just working their tail off to get this thing open. And somehow in 4 days, this garden opened Friday that week last year, 5 days. So here we are tonight, a year later, and with a new garden. As you can see, the trees are still here, they're more vibrant than ever. And you can see the original wall, which was tattered and not going to hold up much longer, has been removed. It's being stored. But behind you, you can see the new remembrance wall with the names of the 58 souls we lost that morning. And you can see the waterfall. You can see all the things that we went through. So Jay, when I wake up tomorrow morning, October 2nd, and somebody says, let's get out of here and go for a walk, you've given it to us. Thank you. It's my great pleasure to introduce the mayor of the city of Las Vegas, the best mayor in the world, Carolyn Goodman.
Thank you, Brad. We'll send that over here again to Stella's. They're watching us. Tonight isn't about us. It's about all of those 58 we lost. The 500 plus who will forever seize each and every day to build a stronger life, I hope. It is about the first responders, and it is about this very sacred spot. It is a sign of a higher power. We've already seen that tonight. Keeping the rain at bay because we are getting a storm tomorrow. It's about the day's remembrances and this fine place of peace and hope and serenity. When I was asked at the very first initial press conference, and I'm sorry to pause, but I believe these words are so much more important than the noise that's being delivered. Asked to address the public at the initial press conference, I could only make a statement to call for blood. Sadly, within hours, the calls came in from the blood banks around our community. We're overrun. We don't have enough technicians. We don't have enough equipment. Please ask donors to come back later, tomorrow, today, these coming days, weeks, months, and years. It was a time of urgency and pain for us all. An urgency, knowing that blood was not the answer, to be able to do something physical, to have a purpose, a meaning, to touch, to be needed, to connect with somebody, to help. Jay, Daniel, Mark gave so many that sense of belonging, of connecting with the creation of the miracle of this community healing garden. It came from the heart and soul of our people, who then found they could begin to breathe again and feel part of something permanent, something resilient, even broaching on ethereal. It's about earth and trees and plants and living and life and surviving into years to come, far beyond any of our years. And it's always with that special insignia of remembrance of 1 October. Tonight is the second, maybe more important, but maybe not so, permanent dedication of this space of human healing, of reverence, of serenity, honoring the beautiful 58 souls we lost, giving us a more committed dedication to be bound by goodness sensitivity to others, and for a bigger, more resilient and peaceful humanity for our future. I want to thank you all for being here tonight, because it's not about me, it is not about anyone other than those who will forever carry the pain and the mark of a 1 October 2017. For those who believed in Carpe Diem, seize the day and make your life begin.
That is Mayor Carolyn Goodman giving her remarks tonight at the Healing Garden.
Please stay with us for continued coverage. Back in a few minutes on 8 News Now. Hearing there from Mayor Goodman speaking. Before Mayor Goodman, the head landscaper, and shortly we will hear from the governor. Right now, this is Councilman Bob Coffin speaking.
And they really could not have asked for a more comfortable night. I know so many people were worried about the weather today, but it's turned out to be just beautiful. We had a beautiful sunset a little earlier tonight. It's a great night for everyone just to be outside, talk to one another, hug one another. We saw a lot of people laying flowers at the Healing Garden as well. So it's a sweet night, I think, for a lot of people.
There is a lot of unity. You see it,
Yeah.
and you feel it. We will continue to cover it live. We're going to be back on the other side of the break, and Governor Sandoval will be speaking soon. Stay with us.
Welcome back to our special coverage of the 1 October anniversary. You know, over the weekend, survivors, first responders, along with family members of the victims, they wanted to help each other continue to heal here 1 year later.
And thousands gathered for a reunion at Centennial Hills Park on Saturday. After months of therapy and mourning, survivors say this event is helping them take the next steps forward.
We're leaving from here to go to Fresno, where my daughter's getting married on Friday. So this is a new chapter starting.
Today, 1 year later, we stand as friends, family, and together we are Country Strong.
By the way, money from ticket and food sales from that reunion will be donated to families of the 58 1 October victims or their designated charities.
We at 8 News Now are continuing our live coverage from the Healing Garden. We do want to remind you that this is streaming live on our 8 News Now Facebook page, as well as live on LasVegasNow.com as we continue to hear from speakers on this night 1 year after 1 October.
We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to our special coverage here live from the Las Vegas Healing Garden. You know, over the weekend there was a call put out on Friday asking people who had maybe a green thumb to bring their gloves, bring a little shovel or a dowel to make sure that all the little flowers and everything planted here behind us look just picture perfect for tonight's rededication ceremony. And they had no shortage of volunteers.
No shortage of volunteers. People came out in droves to help out. Clearly, they did a beautiful job. We had a chance to take a look, and the Remembrance Wall being rededicated tonight with those 58 names. We're hearing from different speakers and so many people, just a large crowd coming together, many friends and family together, and we are also streaming this all live on our 8 News Now Facebook page, as well as LasVegasNow.com.
So this may go on for quite some time.
Yes.
Nobody's in a rush. Everybody would like just to kind of share maybe their moments from that night, speaking on behalf of other family members or friends. And I think everyone here wants to be together, regardless of what's being said at the podium. They just want to share and have that kind of solidarity tonight.
We go off air at 7, but our coverage does continue at 10 p.m. as well as with our newscast pushed to midnight. And shortly after 10 p.m. at 10:01, as the Strip dims its lights, we'll bring that to you live, commercial-free, as you stay with us for our 10 p.m. show honoring those lives lost.
Thanks for joining us for the special edition of 8 News Now, Vegas Stronger. Have a good night.